Hey, Eric here with the Lewis County Scoop. My guest today is Echo Menges with the Edina Sentinel and NEMO News Media Group. We sat down to discuss Missouri Sunshine Law and some of the questions that people frequently ask about requesting public meeting minutes and the rules surrounding open and closed meetings. Echo also discusses the Lyndsey Watts case a little bit and the ongoing concerns involving the Knox County Public Water Supply District. Before we begin, please understand that nothing discussed in this podcast by Echo or me should be considered legal advice. This conversation is provided strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Missouri Sunshine Law can involve some complicated legal questions, so viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified attorney regarding any specific situation that you may have. With that being said, let's jump into the conversation.
Nothing in this podcast is legal advice from our guest or the Lewis County Scoop. It is provided for educational and entertainment purposes only. Sponsors do not control our questions, guests, topics, or opinions, and sponsorship does not constitute endorsement of any views expressed.
Echo, welcome to the Lewis County Scoop. I am pretty honored to have you on here.
Thank you.
So today we're going to primarily talk about Sunshine Law and Echo's experience with it and her knowledge of it. So we're going to ask her some questions that we all have, and she may, she is going to help probably better clarify some main questions that we have. Echo, for someone who has never heard of it, what is Missouri Sunshine Law and why does it matter to us?
So the Missouri Sunshine Law is an open records, open government law. It's actually Chapter 610 of the Missouri Revised Statutes. I encourage everyone who is a citizen of Missouri to read the law and understand, what your rights are.
In a Sunshine Law request, does the request have to use special wording or cite a specific statute? Like if I was going to send a request to a specific clerk, does it have to be worded a certain way?
No.
No?
And you can go on the Attorney General's website, and they actually have a sample Sunshine Law request form that you could download or copy and kind of fill in the blank on that. There's a lot of governmental entities that have some type of online form that you can fill out to make an official Sunshine request. But the way the law is written, any request for public information to a governmental body is a Sunshine request. Okay. It does not have to be in writing.
It can be verbal.
You can go in and ask for documents. I think the push for people to make these requests in writing is to document that the request was actually made.
Okay.
And that's kind of as a protection also. I consider that to be a protection for me on the back end, as far as if I don't get what I've requested, then that kind of gives me a bit of a paper trail to have options to be able to continue to seek that information.
Okay. All right. Are meeting minutes public before they have been formally approved, or can a public body withhold them until approval? Like, do they have to be signed?
They do not have to be approved by the body to become public.
Okay.
I have requested handwritten notes of minutes keepers in lieu of actual finished documents, as far as we call them draft minutes, and that would be between the meeting that was held and the next meeting where those minutes are approved. Those minutes would be draft minutes. Those are still public documents.
Okay.
We do a notation ahead of those minutes that say the word draft, usually in parentheses, so people understand that these are the unapproved meeting minutes of whatever body that we're putting out.
How long does a person have to wait after the actual meeting to request those minutes? Is there a certain amount of time you have to wait?
No.
No? Okay.
You could request them immediately.
Immediately. Okay.
A lot of times, for example, with our school board, And most school boards are very good at this. I send people to look at school board meeting minutes, especially those who are tasked with being the custodians of records, the secretaries, record keepers for these public bodies. I often point them to our school district to look at how they're doing their minutes. And the pace at which the Knox County School District does their minutes is very fast.
Yeah.
I will often request minutes the morning after the meeting, and I cannot think of more than a handful of times throughout my 16 years of being here that I've not had those minutes by the end of that week.
When does research time become a legitimate expense, and when might it be used as a barrier to discourage a request? I think it seems like we might see that a little bit in some things that are going on. That's
a question that I'm in the process of seeking legal counsel on.
Yeah.
There may be some precedent in the court system database that I'm not privy to, as far as research.
Right.
Research and redaction, that's something that's coming up right now. Can you be charged for research and redaction? There was a case in recent recollection where it was brought against the governor. I believe it was Governor Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
And that was legal fees was being pushed on to the requester. And that was ended in that case. However, I can't give you a definitive answer on that because I don't know it yet.
No, but that's fine. Yeah.
Healthcare has lost its way. What used to be a simple relationship between a trusted provider and your family has become a complicated mess of insurance, co-pays, deductibles, and a revolving door of doctors and other healthcare providers. HealthSpan is bringing a simpler model back to Northeast Missouri. Just you and your provider making decisions about your health and wellness for one simple monthly fee. HealthSpan DPC, affordable, accessible, high-quality primary care without the hassle of insurance. You can stop in at 1000 Central Street in LaBelle, Missouri, or visit healthspandpc.com. A simpler model for healthcare.
This is a question that somebody wanted me to ask you. What constitutes an illegal quorum? Can board members violate the law through a series of private conversations, texts, or emails, even if a majority never gathers in one room? So, for instance, just say you have a board of 5 members and 3 of them are at the Blue Room eating lunch. Can they discuss those matters?
That depends.
Okay.
And I just want to remind you and everyone watching, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a reporter.
Yes.
So I'm not giving legal advice. But I will talk about, in generally speaking, and things that I've experienced or learned from educators on the Missouri Sunshine Law. And these are things that I talk to our boards about. If you watch any of our public meeting videos, often you can hear me talking to boards about different things that are allowed and not allowed. So a quorum will be determined by that board's bylaws.
Okay.
City council, ambulance districts, hospital districts, nursing home districts, health department districts, library boards. In Knox County, we have all of that. And so the bylaws will determine what a quorum actually is.
Okay.
Now, the Sunshine Law absolutely does cover that. And a quorum of a body, a governmental body, getting together outside of an open public meeting to have a discussion about said business of that body is not a legal meeting.
Right. Okay.
Well, let's take it a little bit further.
Okay.
I think people don't, especially, we've got, you live here.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis, we're neighbors.
Yep.
We have these boards. They are full of regular people who are not Sunshine Law experts, people who are not career politicians, people who are not getting paid.
Yep.
And I think it's unfortunate because the education for a lot of these bodies is not there. And there's important things to watch out for that a lot of times they're not really made aware of until they're kind of caught on the back end of being subject to this law, and either no one's given them the education that they need to understand how this works, and also that's compounded by they have not done their due diligence to learn what they need to learn. And we've seen board members get caught, kind of in these crosshairs of ignorance.
Right.
And it coming back around to really bite them. I think one thing to mention that people, especially board members, should always be mindful of is any text message that you send dealing with that governmental body, any email that you send or receive, text that you send or received, email that you sent or received, if there's a group message you're sending and receiving, all of that is Sunshine Law requestable.
Yeah. And
failing to turn that over on request could be a violation of the Sunshine Law.
Okay. I know you've been a big advocate, and you've even organized a Sunshine Law class here a while back, and I didn't get to make it, and I wish I would have. I hope
we'll have another one. We try to do it at least every 2 years.
Yeah,
it's become kind of a tradition for us.
Yeah, so I do think that's very, very important. Here's one: can citizens and journalists legally audio or video record an open public meeting?
Absolutely.
And you can just show up. I mean, do you have to let them know ahead of time that you're coming, or
no?
Okay.
No. And you have no responsibility to. Let me walk that back. The way I do it is, it's my understanding that it's not my responsibility to tell people that I'm recording. I don't announce that I'm recording.
Okay.
Now, with the caveat that I'm not secretly recording. I have a tripod with my phone on it. It's pretty obvious what I'm doing. I'm recording this meeting. I think it's important to point out that, and it needs to be read. I mean, this is covered in the Sunshine Law. It can be looked up very easily. And if you're planning on doing something like that, I highly encourage you to do research and background on what it says. You're not allowed, it's kind of like if you get permission to record in court.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to be disruptive in a meeting. So the way I do it is, my tripod is pretty simple. It's, it can take up just a kind of a square foot of space on the floor. I can keep it directly in front of me. Wherever I'm at, a lot of times there's room for it to be, a little bit more spread out. But I'm not attracting a lot of attention to myself in all of that, or making noise, or, you know what I mean? Or doing anything that's disruptive to the meeting. I would, and also that's a common courtesy thing. There's, business to be done at hand. And so, I try to keep as low profile as possible, and just do as a professional of a video as I can of, the public meeting that's happening, and then make that available to the public.
Yep. So you're basically, you're not in the way, you're out of the way. And
Mm-hmm.
So, before closing a meeting, must the board publicly identify the specific statutory reason and record how every member voted in that closed meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so no board is forced to go into a closed session. That's important. There are exemptions to the Sunshine Law where a board may go into a closed session, but make no mistake, there's nothing forcing them into a closed session.
Okay.
That is that board's decision to go into closed session, and that happens for a myriad of reasons. Maybe they've gotten legal advice saying, do that in closed.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the criteria for which you can do that. Hopefully they're doing that. And then when they go into closed, it's their responsibility in their motion to say, I motion we go into a closed session based on Missouri Sunshine Law, Chapter 610 of the Missouri Revised Statutes, subsection 1 and 3, subsection 7 and 14. And that will be, I think there's roughly 26 different reasons you may go into closed session. And those need to be cited at the beginning. And then that vote is a roll call vote where you basically go around to the members and they vote, and that individual vote is recorded.
Okay.
And then also, once you're in closed session, and there's a lot of nuance to that. So like contract negotiation, if that contract negotiation is still going on, of course, those discussions and votes might be closed temporarily. Right? Mm-hmm. But once that contract negotiation is over, that information becomes public.
Okay.
Also, votes are not closed. There are portions of closed session meetings that are open to the public, including the minutes. Things in the minutes of a closed session meeting that you probably need to be thinking about is basics. When was the meeting held? Where was the meeting held? Who was there inside that closed session? That's public information. Even prior to those closed session minutes crossing the threshold of becoming public, right? And most votes, a lot of boards will have their closed session discussion. And this is something I've always appreciated about the Edina City Council is they would have their discussions in closed, then they would vote to go back into open session, and then they would do the voting in open.
Okay.
And that just makes for like a cleaner translation or transition of that, that public documentation. Right. Not everybody does that, but a lot of times those votes are open. And it's kind of on a case by case basis.
Okay. And so when they do go into closed session, you can only talk about those things that you said you were going into closed session for, correct? You can't talk
you should only be talking about, so if subsection 1 and subsection 3, we'll just say, I think it's legal matters and personnel matters, right? So then you should be discussing, board should be discussing just that. What I would warn against is having a discussion that is not a closed session discussion.
Right.
Unfortunately, and we're going to go back to ignorance on this. There are officials that use closed session to discuss things that they don't want to talk about in public, that they're not comfortable having a discussion about in public. But that would not be legal.
Right. That
would be illegal.
Illegal.
That would in the realm of breaking the Missouri Sunshine Law.
Okay.
So to have a discussion about what should be an open, you know what I mean? To go off of that closed session agenda that should be sticking very tightly to just what you said you've gone into closed session for, and then coming out when you're done.
Okay. All right. Okay. When must votes or decisions made in a closed meeting later become public?
Most votes made in a closed session are already public. I request closed session meeting minutes regularly.
Okay.
And I'm excited that in Knox County, I get them.
Yeah.
There are some votes that are not public immediately. So I'm just going to use the example of contract negotiations.
Okay.
So let's say, hypothetically speaking, there's some type of land deal in process where that vote and discussion would damage the negotiations of that contract. That's the Sunshine Law. There's been a piece carved out for that to be able to happen and not be released publicly until that negotiation has been completed.
I see.
Okay, but once that negotiation is completed, then that information becomes public. It does not say closed forever.
Okay. What should a citizen do, or you or me or anybody else do, when a records request is ignored or delayed without explanation or improperly denied?
There is a couple of things that can be done. I would say the Missouri Attorney General's office has a Sunshine Law Compliance Division built into the Missouri Attorney General's office.
Okay.
And this is staffed by very capable people who field hundreds of Sunshine Law complaints a year and investigate them and follow up on them. And so that's one thing that can be done. It can be a complaint can be filed with the Missouri Attorney General's office. And I've done that just a handful of times. Things have definitely changed over the years. In olden times, and I'm talking probably more than 10 years ago, sending a complaint off to the AG's office, a sunshine complaint off to the AG's office was like sending it into the abyss and never seeing it again. For my end of it, and I've filed very few complaints throughout my tenure. But it's been my experience that early on, you would send this complaint off to the abyss, and then however long later, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, the entity would give me what I requested. And I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I think that possibly the Attorney General's office staff got a hold of that entity and worked out with that government official or whoever, hey, this is a, you need to fill this request. And then I've gotten it. Things have changed since then. We see more. I definitely have seen more activity out of the Attorney General's office on investigations. I've definitely seen more communications from the Attorney General's office and seriousness in pursuing these sunshine investigations, especially when boards have been wildly in non-compliance of the Sunshine Law, where I've seen a lot more teeth from the Attorney General's office, especially in our region over this last, handful of years. So that's exciting, and also they work with us on educating our region, and have for many years now. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is hire an attorney and take them to court for these documents, is to put this in the hands of a judge. Or maybe hiring an attorney isn't necessarily required. In the state of Missouri, a sunshine suit can be brought pro se. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
Pro se means without a lawyer.
Okay.
And I can't recommend or not recommend doing that. I will say that it's been my experience in just paying attention to sunshine litigation is it's a process. It's a long fight. Sometimes these efforts, I've seen them drag out for years.
And none of this is legal advice.
Right.
I'm going to say this is for entertainment purposes only. So it's not legal advice, but, ECHO has done a great job of trying to educate the public on the Sunshine Law. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I'll give a plug to the Missouri Sunshine Coalition. I'm on the board of directors. I've been the president of the Missouri Sunshine Coalition for several years now. It's a group of amazing people who are dedicated to education and outreach of the Missouri Sunshine Law. And it's mainly journalists and others, though, from across the state.
So they have these Missouri Sunshine Law booklets.
These are new.
Brand new. What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of one of these? And maybe is there also a website where...
I have a big pile of these at the office.
Okay.
I have had a request in for 200 Sunshine Law books for about 2 years now. And we just got these. And that's not the Attorney General's fault. What's happened is we've had such turnover of the attorney. Every time there's a new Attorney General, there's a new printing. So now that we have this printing, I think when I put in my request, we had a flip over and maybe had another flip over. And we had a printing, but then before that printing was even really pushed all the way out, we might have had another Attorney General. So now these are starting to come out of Jefferson City or wherever they're printing these. They do provide these for free. You can request some from the Missouri Attorney General's office. If you live in Knox County and you want to stop by the Edina Sentinel, I would be happy to give you one. I'm going to try really hard not to kind of hoard these. My goal is to get one into the hands of every elected official and their staff.
Yes.
And then also, members of the public who would love to have one.
Right. Is this same, since these are free, is this same information available online? Is there a website?
Yes. You don't have to wait for the book. You can go online. You could just do a search for Sunshine Law, Missouri Attorney General's office. I think I want to kind of forewarn people to please read the law, because right now what we've got is, which can be and have been getting even better, AI digesting things, and that's not always completely accurate.
Nope.
So if you just need a quick answer, that might not be a bad idea, but I would always encourage anyone who is living in the state of Missouri to read the actual Sunshine Law.
You recently recorded, I think, an Edina City Council meeting.
Yeah, I was actually late for that meeting, so
Okay.
I just caught maybe the last half hour-ish of it.
Okay. There was something in there about the city of Edina is maybe considering putting up cameras.
That's actually where the meeting video starts. It was we have a new police chief. His name is David Dudley.
Okay.
And it was during his board report or his department report to the council where that meeting actually started. And I think it was probably mid-discussion of some type of surveillance cameras that I believe that they had the opportunity to test free of charge. That he was presenting to the council to get their thoughts. And
I see. Do you think maybe this has maybe come about due to the Lyndsey Watts case?
absolutely.
Okay.
I think something that we dealt with early on, have been dealing with, from the beginning. I think I know you've been following the story, but at the very beginning, I think there was a huge push for surveillance videos or camera video or trail cam video, any type of, of any activity.
Ring doorbell video.
Yeah, that type of stuff, any activity to kind of help investigators figure out what happened to Lyndsey, and they were asking for this, kind of what turned out to be about a 4-hour block, which would be 10 p.m. on May 19th to 2 a.m. on May 20th. And which started kind of in Lyndsey's immediate area, but that really ended up ultimately going out to the entire town of Edina.
Yeah.
And I think that probably put law enforcement, extra aware on the lack of that was available, and probably definitely had them thinking about and looking into getting some type of a surveillance system set up around town so they could monitor activity.
Do you think it would be more like in-house Edina? It's not Flock camera, right? Flock.
No, but it's a company It's not owned just by the Edina Police Department. It's a company that provides a service with cameras.
I see.
It's not Flock, and I don't know how. I don't think it would be fair to compare them to Flock. I know there's a lot of negative opinions out there about that type of thing. And I also want to reinforce that this was just a discussion that was started. This was not a decision that was made by the Edina City Council. This is a discussion that they're having, with the Edina Police Department. But it definitely, absolutely has come up. And it is a discussion that is being had.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you would want to share about the Lyndsey Watts case? Whether you can or can't, and that's entirely up to you.
Sure. I don't know when you're going to put this out, if it's today or tomorrow so today is the 22nd of July.
Probably Saturday morning.
Okay. So this is one day later from some breaking news that we delivered from Edina yesterday.
I watched that.
And it was just, mainly dealing with public documents. Interesting that we're talking about the Sunshine Law.
Yeah.
So we did release some information inside of public documents. This was very hard information to, one, deliver, and two, to hear for our community.
Yeah.
And I kind of, and this information is not paywalled. It's on the EdinaSentinel.com. It's on NEMONews.net. It's I actually read the story out loud on video yesterday. That's and that would be on both the NEMO and the Sentinel Facebook pages. So if anybody wants to see for themselves, I don't want to really kind of digest into too much of that. But I do want to remind everyone who is here and around here that there's people in our community that are living this nightmare.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get online and have your theories and input your thoughts on what law enforcement should be doing or what possible people of interest or anything of that nature. And I just really want to encourage everyone to practice restraint, because there are people that are hurting, and they're going to read that, and it's more, and it's a vast swath of people, and also it's painful.
Yes.
It's painful for people to hear this news. And people's hearts are breaking for Lyndsey and her family and people who love her. And I just would really, really love to keep the community, anyone who's watching this, be aware of that.
Yeah.
This is not television. This is not,
it's real.
It's real. And if you live here, then people are living this nightmare.
Yep.
And so, I really want to encourage everyone to give them the grace and, respect that they deserve.
Yep. It seems like, I don't know. I mean, with social media like Facebook, it's people seem to, a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and we need to be respectful of her family and the entire community,
It's interesting for me as a journalist who does not have to cover this type of news ever. It's one thing I really like about working here is that this is a safe place to live.
Yes.
We don't have this type of thing. We don't have, I'm from the city, and it's a much different world. News falls from the sky. It's just a lot of crime and corruption and all of the things. So the community level of journalism that we get to do, stuff that an army of true crime content creators aren't regurgitating, is okay with me to cover things like our high school graduation or a baby show. I love a good baby show. Stuff that isn't gonna end up in state level or even national news, type of thing. So yeah, it's been hard. It's been taxing.
Yeah, I agree. We get more excited about just covering. So we're getting ready to do a podcast segment, Lewis County Young Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Under 15. They're going to share. So we're going to do one here later tonight. And
they're going to do their business.
I'm probably more excited about that than anything.
Yeah, that's a good time.
So,
that's a good time.
It's going to be fun. So we got some kids already stepped up. They're ready to come on with their parents and talk about their little businesses. So you want to talk about Knox County Water Board? There's a lot of Lewis County people on.
There's a huge hunk of
there's
Lewis
a lot
County
of interest here
on this in this water district.
Yeah, they're kind of calling it episodes over here because they're waiting for the next episode. There is some fun being poked, but I think now at the end of the day, it's not really a funny matter. It's unfortunate what they're going through.
I think, as far as, with the water board, that is absolutely one of the biggest, one of the also big things I have going on just as a journalist. And my role is to document. So what I've been doing is showing up and exercising my right as a Missouri citizen to document these meetings. Yeah. And I think it started in April of this year. And what began as an opportunity to invite them to the Missouri Sunshine Law training and has rolled out into kind of working hard to be present for these meetings, to document them. I don't have any real, commentary about it. As far as I want to stay in my lane. As far as what my role is here, I think it's important to say that as a journalist, my opinion is obsolete.
Yep.
And that's actually really good for me and my mental health, I think, to try to kind of stay in my lane and just be a kind of a documentarian. I think just experiencing what's been going on with this, we're seeing some transparency issues for sure. And I think in this last meeting, it's really been kind of to the forefront on sunshine requests and the fees being charged, and
I've seen that.
And so I would say that with the amount of attention these public meeting videos have gotten is very unexpected. Thousands of people are watching.
Yes, yeah.
Let that sink in. Hours and hours of water board meetings, basically.
Yeah.
Have you?
Something that people typically don't.
No, I do. I've recorded, I would say, probably hundreds of hours of meeting videos, and very seldom do these videos attract this kind of attention. Mm-hmm. I think, Knox City, Bering, I've done, recent videos in Herdland is, prior to all of this, I think the average watch rate could be maybe 30 to 100 views.
Yeah.
which makes me feel pretty good. That there's that many people getting on YouTube and seeing for themselves what's happening in their government. Like that's a win for the Sunshine Law.
Yeah.
What a big win for the Sunshine Law.
Yeah.
That people are engaging with their government. They're paying attention to what's happening at these meetings. And I think it's important that by documenting them in these ways, we're making this like more accessible, not just water districts. Any meeting that I can get to that is a public meeting, I will be doing my best to be documenting and then making available to the public. And so if you want to go to the Edina Sentinel YouTube channel and watch other stuff that is probably not, but these meetings, they're one thing that has surprised me big time is just how many people are watching the entire 2 and 3 hour long, water board meeting. So what a big win for the Sunshine Law.
And I'll be so in the comments of this podcast, I'll be dropping the Edina Sentinel YouTube page down there so people can follow it. And is there anything else you want to share today, Echo? I'm pretty honored to have you on here. So
thank you.
You're kind of the go-to person in Northeast Missouri. So for news, information, and I know everybody appreciates it. So I think I could talk about I could go for days. Right. We'll let it go because it seems like it's getting. Well, they give me a reason to have you back on.
Right.
So
yeah, and anytime you want to talk about journalism, I'm always learning. People think that I've been doing this since 2010 here in Edina, with other stuff in Nevada before that, but. Journalism is amazing. Small town news is so different than big town news. I would say if anyone watching here isn't a subscriber of their local newspaper, if they're even lucky enough to have one, they should be, or to somehow in a meaningful way support that. I would remind viewers that people who do not have news coverage in their town probably pay a higher rate of taxes. Probably have decisions made on their behalf that they're completely unaware of. Because there's, journalism is important. There's a reason. There is a freedom of the press in this country, and that's to kind of safeguard our rights and to be a not connected government watchdog, and anything that anyone can do, especially on the local level, to contribute to that is needed. And I would encourage everyone to pay attention to their your local news outlet.
All right, Echo. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
You got to come back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.